Hey, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show. Thanks for tuning in to the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM. If you're interested in sponsoring my show, you can send me an email to the Mike Wagner Show at gmail.com, or you could also donate to the podcast. Just go to the Donate Listen site, and you can also donate whatever you like. Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. For those who are interested, Anchor can give you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. We've got creation tools, allows you to record and edit podcasts so it sounds great, and they'll distribute the podcast for you so it can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple, Google, many more. And you can make money from the podcast with no minimum listenership. So download the Anchor app for free or go to Anchor FM to get started.
It's now time for the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. The Mike Wagner Show brings you famous celebrities and amazing people from all over the world. Listen online at themikewagnershow.com and on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And watch the interview on YouTube. So sit back and relax and enjoy the Mike Wagner Show.
Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Apple, and Google Play. Also, take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on YouTube. And again, take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device. We're here with a wonderful lady who is a singer and harpist from New York City, and also does some work in Houston, graduated from the Juilliard School of Music, master's at Yale, and she's currently in Mexico right now, and she'll tell us, why she's down there. I'm sure it's pretty nice at this time here, and she's got some great music out and a very unique blend. So, ladies and gentlemen, right here from the heart of Mexico and getting ready to play, Margaret Davis. Margaret, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
It's our pleasure as well, too. So you're a singer and harpist. You reside in New York City. You also do some work in Houston. You graduated from the Juilliard School of Music, master's at Yale. And also you're a finalist in 2015 American Harp Society Lyon and the Healy National Competition, outstanding vocalist from Reno and Lionel Hampton Jazz Fest. You performs with Astoria Window. I mean, just a lot in the harp field and something that has really have not been mentioned as well, too. And before we get into all that, tell us how you got started playing the harp.
So I kind of come from a musical family. My parents are actually both classical musicians. My mom plays the violin and my dad plays the cello. So I sort of grew up assuming I would play an instrument. And I think the harp is a pretty cool, enticing thing that most people want to touch when they see it. So I'm really fortunate to have an opportunity to kind of pick one because, my parents kind of were understanding about being interested in whichever instrument I really wanted. So it was an exciting thing to try, and it stuck.
Now, assuming if the harp didn't work out, what are some of the other instruments you considered?
Well, I mean, I love singing. Singing is my other, big passion. I would definitely, I would hope I would be doing that too. I love the piano. Piano is like a little bit similar to the harp. I also am kind of like an indie music type person, so I would probably be super down to learn how to play some guitar, which I still would love to do. But yeah, probably piano or guitar, I would say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, soon, but random.
That was amazing, too. And I don't see a lot of artists out there who sing and play harp at the same time. It sounds like you're pretty much groundbreaking. So who are some of the influences that you grew up, like, say, with singing harp at the same time? Any harpist, or who's your biggest classical influence?
Well, that's a really good question. I pretty much kept harp and singing pretty separate until after graduating from school, I like experimented with singing and playing kind of on the back burner. But especially in college, I really had to focus on playing harp and the classical repertoire I had to learn. So I was practicing a lot. I'm practicing singing, but not for my curricular activities. But definitely classically, I've listened to tons of classical music my whole life, especially with parents. My parents are in the Seattle Symphony, so I grew up going to orchestral concerts and hearing a lot of chamber music. But my harp teachers are huge inspirations to me. My college teachers, Nancy Allen and June Han, I listen to their music. They're incredible players. And also my colleagues, my friends from school are now, many of them are playing with orchestras and putting out music. And I'm always so excited to listen to other harpists. But I think someone who really inspired me as a singing instrumentalist was definitely Diana Krall. I started out as a jazz singer, and that's something that I still really love to do. And a lot of my singing and playing repertoire is jazz. So I definitely grew up listening to a lot of Ella Fitzgerald and Billie Holiday, Sarah Vaughan, and greats like that. And it was always so impressive and cool to me that Diana Krall was this incredible singer and really accomplished pianist and did both together so well. So I think that was definitely influential.
That is amazing, too. And your parents played in the Seattle Symphony. And what was the other symphonies you played in with the harp?
This week I'm playing with the Orchestra Philharmonie de Jalisco. My Spanish is, believe it or not, getting a little better, but it's still horrible. But I'm playing with... Yeah.
Go Seattle.
So I'm playing with this orchestra here in Guadalajara this week. They're phenomenal. We're playing an opera, little-known opera called Puss in Boots. It's really, really cool. Last week I played with the Spokane Symphony in Spokane, Washington. It's about 5 hours from Seattle. I'm originally from Seattle, so that was quite a treat to get to go home and then go play with an orchestra nearby my hometown. And I also played with the Lancaster Philharmonic, or Lancaster, I guess is how you say it, Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and a handful of community orchestras. It's a fun thing to do. I've never really wanted an orchestra job full time, probably partly because it's what my parents do, but also interest in other genres and stuff like that. But it's really fun to do sometimes. It's like a fulfilling skill to maintain.
Mm-hmm. And you also do this as well too. You're well established in New York City and Houston as well too. And do you get invited to go play in New York? Do you have a permanent residency in New York and Houston?
So I actually just moved from New York to Houston. I've been hanging out in Houston for a month, and weirdly it's coincided with these trips. I was just in Seattle for a week of gigs and then Spokane for a week, and now I'm in Mexico for a week. So I haven't actually physically been in Houston too much. But so I sort of play a range of genres for work. I play classical gigs. I play with orchestras and chamber opportunities. I play some church music or with choirs, whatever people really need, harpists will do it for you. And then I also have this singing harpist act, which my repertoire is primarily jazz. So that's been really, really fun to do in both New York and Houston. I take a lot of corporate events, the little, I think of it as a luxury jazz act with the singing harpist in the corner. It's just kind of a new twist on the singing instrumentalist, I think. So I did a lot of work with that in New York. I did a lot of events at the New York Athletic Club and the Yale Club Manhattan, the Andaz Wall Street Hotel, the St. Regis Hotel. And now I've been starting that business up in Houston as well. I just played at the Briar Club. I'm starting to work with some corporations down there, Huntsman Energy and Chevron, and getting back into the event scene. But that stuff is kind of all my day job. And then I'm trying to get music out and fulfill my original music itch.
and before we talk about that, how'd you end up in Houston?
So I was in New York for a long time. I was there for 4 years of undergrad, and then I was in Connecticut for 2 years of grad school, and then I stayed for a year of freelancing. And it's an amazing place, and it brought me a lot, and I'm really grateful for my time there. But it is definitely a pretty difficult place to be as a freelance harpist, primarily because I have to drive. I have to take my instrument in a car. And believe it or not, New York is a really tough place to be when you can't use the subway.
Yeah.
Yeah. As well, venues are smaller. It's an old part of the country. Doorways are tough. So it was a much more... it was much more logistically stressful to get to gigs there. And, it totally would be worth it. And I could see myself being there again someday. But Houston is a little bit of an experiment in that I haven't been there long and I'm not exactly sure how it's going to pan out. But it's sort of an opportunity to have a little more time and space to work on my original stuff and get some recordings out, get an album out finally. That's something I've been sort of biding my time, waiting for the right time to do it. And New York is such a hustle and bustle, busy place to be that I did have trouble finding time to actually record and work on my personal projects with so many gigs, which, not complaining to be hired. But
right, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but Houston is just another place with an event scene, and it's working out well. There's a bunch of really great harpists there who have been super welcoming and nice, and I'm enjoying it so far.
Mm-hmm. And who are some of the harpists that you enjoy as well, too? You talked about hanging out a lot of harpists, like one of the more famous ones. Who do you look up to, or say, who do you think you're in line with?
I mean, I pretty much love harpists in general, definitely through college. My very close friends were harpists. Right now I'm subbing for my good friend Caroline Bembia, who's an incredible harpist. She's the harpist here in Guadalajara. She's a really good friend of mine. My good friend Catherine Siochi is the principal harpist of the Kansas City Symphony. A friend of mine, Emily Levine, is principal harpist in Dallas. I have a couple friends in Europe that I always think of. Emily Hoyle is one of them. Pretty much all the girls I went to school with are always in my heart. I love my harpists.
That's amazing, too. I'll talk about your album in just a minute. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can check our Facebook page at Facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also on Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Apple, and Google Play. Also, take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device and subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with singer and harpist Margaret Davis, originally from the Seattle area. She's been in New York, now in Houston, and currently on tour in Mexico. And with a symphony, she graduated from Juilliard School of Music and a master's at Yale. And she's also got an album coming out, and she also works with Astoria Window. But first, let's talk about your brand new album and tell us all about it.
So the album is actually not done yet. It's we're working on it right now. We've been recording it since we got to Houston. It's with my band, Astoria Window, which is my original music project. The band is with two of my colleagues from Juilliard and Yale, and it features harp, ukulele, vocals, electronics, and other synthesizers. And we've gone through so much experimentation to find the sound we want. It's always been our sort of goal to bring our classical backgrounds and theory training and that complexity and musical depth that we've studied so much in classical music into a more electronic singer-songwriter, indie band space. We're really inspired by contemporary classical composers like Steve Reich and Philip Glass, as well as more contemporary genre artists like Trent Reznor and James Blake. And I'm personally a huge Chill Step fan. I love some Tom Misch and FKJ, etc. So we've gone through several iterations of the band, and it's been sort of our back burner project, our like more pop oriented outlet through music school. Yeah. So we've collaborated with other acoustic instruments. We've had a guitar player we've worked with before. We worked with an electric bass player for a while. And now we've really been hardcore delving into electronics, and we've been working with Ableton Live. And I'm so stoked on what we're doing. I think I think I can say it's going to be some of the most groovy harp music, hopefully, if all goes to plan. So we're recording it now, and I can't wait to put it out. We're looking at least dropping a single next month in October. But the other big project we're working on is we're actually writing a piece for Astoria Window and Orchestra that will be premiering in Seattle with the Seattle Collaborative Orchestra on April 3rd of 2020. And I can't wait. It's a really cool project for us, given our sort of classical roots and like pop intrigue. So I can't wait for that.
It sounds like a unique mix, and I listened to some of your works, and I want amazing. I've never heard this before. It sounds groundbreaking, and hopefully you can make it be a trailblazer for other bands to copy what you have.
Thank you. I'm so glad you like it. Yeah, it's definitely a fun project to at least bring the harp and some of our more traditional music techniques into a more experimental arena.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, you got some shows coming up as well, too. And tell us what you got coming up next month, the month after that, and everything else.
So with this move to Houston, we've definitely tried to make an effort to give ourselves plenty of time to record. The best thing to do would be to find my website, Mark Davis Music, and I'm going to be posting show updates there. Our big show, obviously, is going to be in Seattle in April 3rd, 2020. I'm so excited. I literally can't wait for that. But we're playing, we're definitely going to be doing some shows, especially in Austin. We have a bunch of friends who are giving us a lot of really great advice about places we should play. And I've heard a lot about Austin in general, and I'm really excited to check it out.
Have you thought about South by Southwest? That's the most popular one in Austin, South by Southwest.
Absolutely. Yeah, that'd be a dream. I would love to play there.
Mm-hmm. And also, too, we'll talk about some of your accomplishments as well, too. You listen to The Mike Wagner Show at themikewagnershow.com. Powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Looking for a professional website without breaking your budget? Sonic Web Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable, custom web designs at below the competition way. Call today at 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960. Or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention the Mike Wagner Show. Get 10% off your first order. Sonic Web Studios. Take your image to the next level. Also, the Mike Wagner Show can be heard on themikewagnershow.com. You can check our Facebook page at facebook.com/The Mike Wagner Show. You can download and listen on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. Also, Anchor FM, Radio Public, iTunes, Apple, and Google Play. You can also listen to the Mike Wagner Show on any mobile device and take the Mike Wagner Show with you. And also subscribe to the Mike Wagner Show on the YouTube channel. We're here with singer and harpist Margaret Davis from the Seattle, Washington area. She also plays in New York and the Houston area and currently in Mexico right now. And she graduated from Juilliard School of Music, master's at Yale. Also has an indie group called Astoria Window, which is about to put out an EP later on before the year is over. And some of the tours will be coming up. You can go to her website. Let's talk about some of the awards you've won as well, too. And you're nominated. You're finalist in 2015's American Harp Society, Lyon, and the Healy National Competition. You just tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that was a back-to-back week of two classical harp competitions. It's actually Lyon and Healy. They're a famous harp maker. Most of the harps you see in America are going to be Lyon and Healy harps. So they put on a big competition every year, and then the American Harp Society frequently will be sort of back-to-back with it, and there's usually like a piece or two that's overlapping. So that was actually one of few competitions that I ever did. It was sort of, I think it was really, really good for me as a player to be in that very high stress environment. At competitions like that, you have to memorize all your music, and it's typically quite challenging rep depending on what division you're in, but ideally it's challenging rep. And it's a very intimidating thing to do. I think it was really good for me, along with like recitals of classical music. That stuff is really hard to do, and I have very sincere admiration for those people who are very successful at it. And it's something that as a classical player in my roots, I definitely want to maintain that skill. And I do make a point to continue to learn classical pieces, even though most of my time and heart is in other genres. But I do concertize, and I do play recitals and chamber music and orchestral stuff, of course, just because it's good for your brain and it's good for your fingers, especially memorizing music. And that's sort of tapping into the math for me. It's a very like systematic process of like, okay, I have to get this page done today. And it's sort of like a nice break from the more like free thought world I'm usually in with like writing music and making arrangements of jazz stuff for my jazz act. So yeah, it's a nerve-wracking, sort of horrible in a lot of ways thing to do, but I think it's really, really good for people to go through.
And you talked about other genres as well, too. What other genres are you looking at, getting into?
Well, so I have my jazz act, and then I have my band, which is a more sort of indie thing. I definitely want to start doing a little more pop. I get a lot of requests for pop at gigs, and it's always tough because so much pop now is like, well, not always, but sometimes, it's a more sort of simplistic chord progression or simplistic instrumentation. Like so often now we have sort of this like bass line and a beat type of like almost minimalistic backtrack to so many of our favorite pop singers' music. So I really want to kind of take the time to make a more detailed, extravagant harp part to songs like that. So, I mean, if anybody has requests, throw them at me because I'm down.
and of course, if you are taking requests like, during this interview or afterwards, how can they send requests?
So the best spot to reach me is Instagram, Marg Davis Music, MARG Davis Music on everything.
Okay. All right. We'll ask that again in just a minute as well, too. You're also an outstanding vocalist from the Reno and Lionel Hampton Jazz Fest. And you can just tell us about that.
So those are actually from high school. It's kind of,
wow.
That's a while ago now. It's been a college since then. But yeah, I started singing jazz in middle school. I think I was probably 13 when I really got into it. I was fortunate enough to go to a middle school and a high school in Seattle that are sort of known for their really great jazz programs, Eckstein Middle School and Roosevelt High School. And actually quite a good handful of kids from Roosevelt ended up in New York at music school for jazz, which is kind of funny. It's like it's a weird little connection. But yeah, I joined the vocal jazz when I was in 8th grade. And then I did that all through high school and really fell in love with it. And my schools would go to those jazz festivals, and there were combo competitions and jazz band competitions and vocalist competitions. And that was a really, really fortunate thing to have the opportunity to participate in those. Kind of same reason, it forces you to prepare something well and think about it in a bunch of different ways and then get out there and perform it. And particularly at Lionel Hampton, it was so cool. Like I remember the year that I won, I got to sing on like the main stage for an enormous like stadium crowd, which was a huge deal at the time. It was really, really exciting. And those things, I think doing things like that when you're younger really help when you're older. It kind of gets into your bones, the genre and the performing gene.
That is amazing too, and you got your experience right there. And of course, just a few more minutes here, and we know you're very busy. We appreciate you being on as well too, and wish you all the best. What do you consider your most favorite project and most challenging?
Definitely, I'm really excited about my band. It's really cool to be a harpist, and it's really cool to be a singing harpist, both for the reasons that I can show up and do it by myself. I'm not like a trumpet player or a violin where like you don't often see them, playing solo at like a wedding or a concert or whatever. And I'm fortunate enough to have the option to do that. So with my band, it's this really exciting opportunity to actually collaborate and have other people's input. The other members of my band are John Shadle is the ukulelist and the producer. He's a trumpet player by day in music school. Believe it or not, there is not a ukulele program at Juilliard.
Wow.
So no, he played the trumpet there. And then Ryan Dodge is sort of taking a consulting role on our orchestral composition because he's a composer from Juilliard. And it's really fascinating to hear what they do, what their brains do with something that I come up with. And they're always intrigued by what I come back with when they give me something. And it's a process that I really enjoy, and I can't begin to like explain how excited I am to actually produce something that's mine. You know, I feel so much for jazz and classical, and like these genres are so important and influential to me, along with, you know, pop and chill step and all of this music that saturates all of our lives. And I can't wait to finally get out my sort of conglomeration of all of these influences, which will finally be very soon.
That was amazing. What do you consider most challenging?
Honestly, probably the same thing. I mean, releasing originals is daunting and scary. A couple years ago, I probably would have said classical playing, honestly, because it's insanely challenging. I have so much respect for classical musicians, both orchestral, solo musicians, chamber musicians, all across the board, because that's a different animal when you're performing your own music or even your own arrangements. Like you have that music inside you because you've spent so much time either like coming up with it or, you know, morphing it into your own thing, which you do to some extent with classical music too. But they're like, a large percentage of what you're trying to do is present the work of this composer and honor their wishes, and accuracy is really, really important. And that's a huge challenge, especially when you're memorizing literally thousands of notes for a solo piece. But, you know, doing it for a long time and doing it repetitively, and also playing multiple genres has really helped, honestly, with classical music. So I feel much more comfortable with that than I did when I was younger. But yeah, definitely the most daunting thing and the most challenging thing is getting the ideas in my head and like the feelings that I want to put into music actually written on a page or recorded into Ableton or whatever. But it's a fun challenge. I love it.
It sounds like it too. Looking forward to what you can do, expand, and everything next time we talk. And what do you consider most memorable moment?
My most memorable moment is probably the first time I played in Carnegie Hall. There's this quality that happens to me sometimes where I'm performing and I feel it only happens when I feel like completely prepared, which, you know, you try to always feel that way. But it's happened to me a few times. It happened to me at Carnegie, and it happened to me at the Knitting Factory last spring. I kind of start to feel like I'm in this sort of trance where like all I can feel and think is the music, and I'm not concerned or affected by the eyes on me. And those are kind of the moments to live for. Those are the moments I really look forward to. So that's definitely really memorable the first time that happened at Carnegie.
That's amazing too. I'm looking forward to being on the stage myself too. And who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
You know, it's hard to pick one. So I'm going to pick two, and this is cheesy, but I'm going to say my parents, just like because they're classical musicians, and I've always just really been so floored by classical musicians and their dedication. But, you know, to pick somebody known and more relevant to what I'm doing, I'm going to say Ella Fitzgerald. Just listening to her voice and the way that she decides what to do with her melodies is influential to me in originals and in jazz and in general. Love that lady.
That is so amazing. Big fan of Ella Fitzgerald. We'll talk more about that. And just want to say, Margaret, big thank you for your time. Looking forward to having you again soon. And enjoy your trip as well too. And once again, tell us about your upcoming projects. What's your website, and how do people contact you, and how do people get a hold of your music?
Awesome. So yeah, we're working on the EP. We'll have it out very soon. If you're interested in updates, check out my website, margdavismusic.com, M-A-R-G, Davis Music. That's also my Instagram handle, Marg Davis Music. I post covers, I post classical snippets, I post jazz there, and all of the updates on everything will be there. We'll be releasing music streamable next month. Our debut single is coming out, and April 3rd, 2020, our orchestral work for Astoria Window Orchestra will be premiering in Seattle.
That is fantastic. And once again, you're taking requests. Where can people send a request to you?
I am on Instagram a little more than I would like to admit. So that's probably the best place to find me.
Great. Okay. All right, Margaret, just want to say a big thank you for your time. You've been fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. And please do us a favor, keep us up to date in your trailblazing career.
Thanks so much, Mike. This was really great.
Thanks for listening to The Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios. Visit online at sonicwebstudios.com for all your needs. Listen online at themikewagnershow.com and on Facebook, SoundCloud, Spreaker, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. And watch the interview on YouTube. Also, become a sponsor of the program and or donate today at themikewagnershow.com. Join us again tomorrow for another episode of The Mike Wagner Show.